Hey everybody, it's Joe Chaffee. It's Sunday evening. So it's time to take a look at what the long-range GFS model is doing. I have to say, quite honestly, I'm getting at the point now where I'm about to throw in the towel here on any kind of meaningful pattern realignment. I wouldn't even call it a change, or even just a realignment might be nice, but it just does not appear like it's going to happen. And I know this model loves to do this every couple of runs, and then it goes back to the dominant pattern, but it really is hard to fight. Trough after trough dives into the west. Ridge after ridge just pops up in the east. So you can take a look that through the next 16 days, we have three major disturbances that go by, all followed by strong ridges. And that's again because if you look up back through here, all of this and the maps that are on the post will outline this with a little more detail. Nothing really changes. The Arctic complex remains in place. There's no cross-polar flow at all. You get these little hints where it wants to do something. I guess the only thing that really changes a little bit is that toward the end of the period, the axis of this vortex pattern shifts a little bit further to the east, but it really doesn't meaningfully change what is going on. The other thing where the model's been grossly wrong in the last few days is it had kept wanting to try to make some kind of major system in eastern Canada. It has backed away from that. While it still shows a trough lifting up, it's much weaker than what was earlier indicated. At best, it might mean that at some point we may get a cold air mass that'll develop and move on through. There's one right here, and then it just pulls right out because the next weather system just jumps in. Now, I know you cold and snow weather lovers, if you really want to get depressed, I'm going to switch over to the temperatures and a couple of things that are occurring here. First off, I want to jump to next Sunday, and that's ahead of the next cold front, next weekend. Next weekend is liable to be very warm here. I'm thinking it probably could be 60s on Saturday and again on Sunday, as we're going to have a big ridge here in the east ahead of the next trough. And then as we move along, you see Canada does get colder, but how much of that is really just the fact that it normally would get colder anyway? And you can see that as the vortex maybe shifts a little bit further east toward the end of the period, there's a little bit more cold air in Canada, but it doesn't really translate to much cold air coming into the eastern two-thirds of the United States. It just pretty much stays the same with above normal temperatures. You can see the yellow here, 50s into central New Jersey, and this is by December 22nd. So we are just going to continue, I think, on more of the same unless there's another radical departure at some point. But it's hard to imagine how this is going to happen. I'm thinking that we're just going to have to sit back and wait longer. And perhaps those, kudos to those that I've been talking about early January, because now as each day goes by, it seems to me that they may very well be correct. Or at least they'll have a chance to be correct, because there's always the chance that the pattern may just keep going for a little bit longer than that. So, or maybe a lot longer than that. Who knows? So I'm just going to just keep watching this every day. We'll see how it progresses. But right now, it really is pretty much the idea that things are just going to remain locked into place until further notice, and until something major really happens to change all of this. We're just going to go on with the ridge in the east, trough in the west idea. The El Nino pattern just seems to be too strong and too dominant to allow any other major changes to happen across North America.